The Guadalupe River, flowing through the fertile Santa Clara Valley, has attracted inhabitants for thousands of years. Who were the early settlers on the Guadalupe River? What events led to the founding of San Jose? How did world events shape the course of the inhabitants' lives? And how did they, in turn, shape the course of their budding community? The area around the Guadalupe River and the homes of Luis Maria Peralta and Thomas Fallon provide us a glimpse into San Jose's colorful past. They serve as a reminder of the diverse lifestyles and important contributions of San Jose's early inhabitants. The valley's first known inhabitants were the Ohlone Indians, who found bounteous sustenance in the fertile plains and mountains. There were many permanent settlements in the area. One of the many camping and fishing grounds on the Guadalupe River was called Soco Isuca, meaning laurelwood. There, the Ohlone fished for salmon and steelhead trout, gathered acorns, and used cleverly crafted decoys to hunt wild game. Grizzly bears, elk, antelope, mountain lions, and herds of deer roamed through the wild blackberries and grapevines. Flocks of ducks and geese flew overhead. And creeks meandered across the valley like silver ribbons, eventually merging with the bay. After ruling New Spain for 250 years, the Spanish Empire spread northward into Alta California, establishing forts, towns, and missions along the way. In 1777, the first civilian settlement was founded in Alta California, the Pueblo of San Jose. Its settlers had come from the present-day Mexican states of Sinaloa, Baja California, Sonora, and the area near Arizona. They had ventured north under the leadership of Captain Juan Bautista de Anza and settled on the fertile banks of the Guadalupe in the place they named El Pueblo de San Jose de Guadalupe. The original 66 pobladores consisted of 15 families, with only 28 adults altogether. 9 had farming experience and only 1 could read. Even in that first group, the cultural blending that distinguishes San Jose today had begun to take place. Far from the coastline and poorly provisioned by the Spanish government, the settlers relied strictly on their own talents to build homes and furniture, sew clothes, and provide food. The settlers triumphed over the adversities. Within a couple of years, San Jose's rich harvest supplied enough food for both the San Francisco and Monterrey presidios.
Va la recua por el maíz que cuidará usted venga del más seco, to assure that it's arrived in good condition. We thank you for the chiles and tomatoes, which were received with great interest. We look forward to receive more of the excellent goods from San Jose.
Though the settlers' lives were improving, the Indians' lives were not. The Indians had initially greeted the Spaniards as distinguished guests with joyful singing and dancing. The Spanish wanted to turn the Indians into gente de razón, or Spanish citizens, capable of defending the empire. The Spanish missionaries sought to spread their faith.
Ahí siempre habrá en el camino una compañía de 50 jinetes.
Go continually, a company of 50 cavalrymen in this new California, together with 1 or 2 missionaries? How many infants may be baptized? How many dying may gain eternal life?
Though it wasn't their intention, the Spanish effort to save the Indians' souls cost many their lives. Because they were stripped of their native way of life, exposed to unfamiliar illnesses, and used as inexpensive labor, the Indian population rapidly decreased. Conflicts between the Indians and the settlers were not rare, and it was the duty of the Comisionado of San Jose to represent the Spanish crown in all Pueblo affairs.
Con fecha 7 del corriente me dice el señor gobernador de la provincia lo siguiente. At his request, I hereby relieve Macario Castro of the position of Sargento Comisionado of the Pueblo. I have requested that Luis Peralta, Sargento of the Presidio of San Francisco, be brought to the Pueblo. When Señor Peralta arrives, as the elected replacement, he will receive the Comisión of the Pueblo de San Jose.
The pious and commanding Luis Maria Peralta became one of the Pueblo's first comisionados in 1807, and as such, he was responsible for everything from religious compliance to tithing, from marital disputes to crop production and quality, from Indian labor to conflicts with the nearby mission. He had the last word. He was the judge and jury. His sun-baked adobe home on the Guadalupe River reflects the life of the frontier. It was originally built by Manuel Gonzalez, an Apache Indian and member of the ANSA party, who later became the alcalde or mayor of San Jose. Originally furnished exclusively with handmade items, the adobe consisted only of a sala, or living room, and recámara, or bedroom. Yet it provided an adequate home for his wife, Maria Loreto Alviso, and a very large family, since most activities took place outdoors. The adobe's overhangs, sunken windows, and thick whitewashed walls shaded the family from the hot afternoon sun. Life was rugged on the California frontier, and change took place slowly. In San Jose, Mexico's war for independence from Spain was a distant thunder. In 1825, San Jose residents gathered at the plaza to take the oath of allegiance to the new Republic of Mexico.
Todas las personas dieron muchos regozos. It is recorded that everyone gave 3 cheers for the Constitution with great rejoicing and celebrated with 3 days of bullfighting and corresponding diversions at night.
Politically, the change in national flags didn't have much of an effect on San Jose, nor on the life of Peralta. He continued to keep records, serving as an esteemed elector, treasurer, and judge until retiring after 21 years of service to San Jose.
My dear sir, I received the notice which tells me that I have been elected alcalde of our pueblo. I wish to make you aware that due to my advanced years, problems with my sight, and other accidents which surround me, I am unable to perform this honorable position.
Peralta had become wealthy through a land grant from the Spanish king. Yet although he owned most of present-day Alameda County and more land in San Jose, he continued to live in his small adobe until the end of his life. The change to Mexican rule began to impact the Pueblo gradually. Under Mexican rule, Spain's restrictions on trade were lifted, and foreign trade increased greatly. Visiting ships supplied silks, saddles, silverware, china, and cookware in exchange for cattle, grains, tallow, and hides from the settlers. Many foreign settlers, especially Americans, began to arrive in San Jose due to Mexico's more lenient policies regarding land ownership. One of the foreigners later became Peralta's neighbor, the Irish-born, Canadian-bred saddle maker and adventurer Thomas Fallon. Arriving in California in the winter of 1843, Fallon became a guide, scout, and hunter for John Charles Fremont, known in his later bid for the presidency as the Western Pathfinder. 3 years later, Fallon was to ride with Fremont again, this time aligned with the United States in the war against Mexico. In July of 1846, Fallon rode into San Jose. In a letter to Commodore Montgomery, he wrote,
I have arrived here with 19 men. We are at your command. If you wish, we will hoist the American flag and protect it here. I want an immediate answer if you would send 6 guns and pistols, ammunition, etc. I can get men to use them.
Without initial opposition, Fallon raised the American flag over San Jose, though it was temporarily taken down after Fallon left. Fallon settled in Santa Cruz after the war, and eventually began to court Carmel Cota Lodge, daughter of Martina Castro of Rancho Soquel.
Aquí la madre y sus 7 hijas entretenieron a sus amigos con fiestas.
Here, the mother and her 7 daughters entertained their friends with joyful dancing parties as only the Californians of the day knew how to give.
Fallon's subsequent marriage to Carmel linked him to the established Californios, who had provided stability during the stormy succession of Spanish and Mexican leaders. The transition to American rule went smoothly, and the first city council members were still drawn from the prominent ranchero families. But the discovery of gold had a tremendous impact. By 1850, when San Jose became the first capital of California, not even one Hispanic name remained on the roster of the new city council. A dramatic increase in population, especially of undesirable characters, brought about an increase in crime. The city council desperately tried to maintain order while still wading through a frustrating mixture of English, Spanish, Mexican, and American laws. When the Fallons settled in San Jose in 1855, it was beginning to take on the characteristics of an American town. The first planning map laid out the town in proper streets and lots in anticipation of future growth. Fallon's mansion was to become a showcase of the growing, newly American town.
You'll be surprised to see that I'm building what will be the prettiest house in San Jose, as there is not much here at this time.
Fallon's unusually extravagant home reflected his flamboyant character, as well as the changes taking place in town. Building materials, furnishings, and plants were now imported from all over the world. The home, with its formal living and dining rooms, an indoor kitchen, and individual bedrooms upstairs, was representative of Fallon's newfound opulence. Fallon was elected mayor in 1859, the year before the Civil War began. San Jose's most pressing problem at the time was the number of Spanish and Mexican land grants in litigation.
There is no question which can come before you in your term of office that demands so much of your attention as this. And it is hoped that in all matters affecting land titles, you will act with caution and be guided by justice, always having in view the settlement of titles.
Now, this was not just a matter of public policy to the new mayor. All of Carmel's family and many of their friends were fighting to keep the land granted them by Spain and Mexico. In fact, many old Californio families nearly bankrupted themselves in the legal defense of their lands. Throughout Thomas Fallon's public career, the town concentrated on paving streets, building a gasworks, several schools, and most importantly, a railroad linking it to San Francisco, and from there to the rest of the nation. The Peralta and Fallon families had witnessed San Jose's growth from a harsh frontier outpost to a bustling town. One unpretentious, one extravagant. Yet both the Peraltas and the Fallons contributed toward continuity in the face of great change. Indian, Spanish, Mexican, and American cultures have each made their unique contribution to the thriving city on the Guadalupe River.